In this video, we'll go through some common configuration settings for the complete UniPrint test environment that we built in the previous video. First, we'll add a demo license to the license server. Second, we'll start an RDP session and manually add a gateway printer. For users who print through print servers, gateway printers are special instances of those printers that form a secure connection or gateway between their session and the actual printer instance on the print server. Next, we'll configure gateway printer properties globally for all users, and we'll also set default gateway printer properties, which will be applied to all newly installed gateway printers. Then we'll make different UniPrint features available to users during their sessions. If you plan to use UniPrint in a server-client setup, we'll show you how to configure and enable the UniPrint Email PDF printer, which allows users to email their print job as an attached PDF, and the UniPrint Save PDF printer, which allows users to save their print job as a PDF to any network-accessible location. Next, we'll enable and set the order of precedence for group policy objects. And finally, we'll enable and set up a schedule for font replication. Font replication can greatly improve print job transfer speeds, since it allows UniPrint to strip font information from the PDF generated on the application server, and then rebuild it at the print server, thereby reducing bandwidth consumption. Now let's go to the UniPrint bridge to add a demo license. When you purchase UniPrint, you'll receive an email message that contains a serial number. License keys are emailed after the serial number is registered on our website. From this email, change the file extension of the attached file from .txt to .reg and then save it to an accessible location. For demonstration purposes, we saved our demo license on our desktop. Licenses are added through the UniPrint Management Console. Click Add License and browse to the location where it is saved. Click to select the license, and then click Open. Click Finish. The red warning box is replaced with the license information. Now let's ensure that the license can be read by the other two servers. Let's start with the print server. Click Refresh, and the license information will be updated. Let's do the same on the application server. Now let's go to a workstation to start an RDP session. To start an RDP session, double-click Remote Desktop Connection. Enter the IP address of the application server and then click Connect. Now that we're in a session, let's add a gateway printer. A gateway printer is an instance of a printer on your print server and acts as a bridge or gateway between your session and the print server. Click Start. Click Control Panel, and then double-click Printers. Click Add a Printer. Since you can have multiple print queues servicing the same printer, UniPrint attaches a hash number to all gateway printers to ensure each one can be uniquely identified. This is also how users can identify which printer is a gateway printer. Click to select HP LaserJet M4345 MFP, and then click Next. We'll make this the default printer for now, until we can get PrintPal up and running. Click Next, and then click Finish. So here's our newly added gateway printer. You'll notice here that we have a gateway printer and a UniPrint printer. The difference between the two is that the UniPrint printer is for server-client printing, and therefore the UniPrint client needs to be installed on the user's workstation before it can be used. The gateway printer is for printing through the print server, and therefore the user doesn't require a printer driver or client software to be installed on their workstation when using this printer. Now let's log off this session. Let's go to the bridge to set printer properties globally for all users. Under Properties and Settings, click Printers. Let's set global printer properties for the gateway printer we just added to the user session. Click to select HP LaserJet M4345 MFP, and then click Properties. Change the paper size from letter to legal. Let's change another property. Click the Advanced tab. Change font embedding from minimal to full. Click Save. We can also set default printer properties for any new gateway printers added to our network. To do this, go to the print server. Click Printers. Click Publish Options. Here you can not only change the naming convention for gateway printers, but you can also set default gateway printer properties. Click Default Settings. Since local printers on this server are enumerated to the bridge, we need to access the bridge from here. Enter administrative credentials for the bridge. and then click OK. Not all printer properties can be set, since they're dependent on the actual physical capabilities of the printer. Click the General tab to see what properties are available. As you can see, only the properties that affect how a PDF file is created can be changed. Click the Advanced tab. Change the font embedding options from minimal to full, and then click Save. Now any new printer that is added to this print server will have full font embedding set by default. Click Cancel to exit Publish options. Let's test this by adding a new printer. Click Start. Click Control Panel. Double-click Printers. Click Add a printer. Click Add a local printer. We'll use this port for our test printer. Click Next. Select Generic. Select Generic/Text Only, and then click Next. Click Next. This printer name is fine. Click Next again. Let's add a comment so that we know that this is just a test printer. And then click Next. Click Finish. Close the Printers window. Refresh the printers list. And the newly added Generic/Text Only printer will appear. To view Gateway printer properties, we need to go to the bridge. Refresh the printers list, and the Gateway printer version of the Generic/Text Only printer should appear. To check that full font embedding has been set by default, click to select the Generic/Text Only printer, and then click Properties. Click the General tab. All of these properties should remain unchanged. Click the Advanced tab to check font embedding. And full font embedding has indeed been set by default. Click Cancel to exit this dialog box. Now let's configure session features. Go to the Application Server. Under Network Connections, click Sessions. Under Protocols is a list of virtual channels that UniPrint uses to transfer print jobs. The order in which they are listed is the order UniPrint uses to automatically detect them. To change the detection order, click to select the protocol. Click the up or down arrow to move it within the list. For Macintosh and/or Linux users, you'll also need to select Mac client/Linux client. If you have users that connect to a second application server by launching another session from within their original session, then select the appropriate protocol. UniPrint will then treat this application server as a pass-through client, and print jobs will be sent seamlessly through multiple sessions back to the originating workstation. If you have users who do this, then select the protocols that apply, such as RDP. Select ICA 10+ for those who utilize the Citrix receiver. And also select ICA 9 and earlier for those who utilize older Citrix ICA clients. The settings under Logon Options are for actions that are performed when a session is started. We would like the user init process to finish launching all logon scripts, so we'll keep Wait for user init to finish selected. For server client printing, keep Set UniPrint as default printer selected. Also, we want all print jobs to be deleted from a disconnected session when the user starts a new session, so select Delete Leftover Print Jobs. To save our configuration settings, click Save. Now let's configure and enable the UniPrint email and save queues. Under Properties and Settings, click Printers. To allow users to email a copy of their print job as an attachment directly from the application server, click to select UniPrint Email PDF, and then click Properties. If your users already have MAPI configured on their workstations, then by selecting Use Default MAPI Client, no further configuration is required. Select Use Default MAPI Client. If your email clients don't support MAPI, then users can send email directly through your SMTP server. Clear Use Default MAPI Client. Enter the address of the mail server that will be used. If your mail server requires authentication, select Server Requires Authentication, and then enter credentials for the mail server. But since this is only a demonstration, clear Server Requires Authentication. Enter the default email address from which messages will be sent. If the user's email address is in Active Directory, then the AD email address will appear instead of the one set here. To test your connection to the mail server, click Test. Enter an email address to which to send a test message, and then click Send. Since this is only a demonstration, click Cancel. To save these settings, click Save. Click Yes to enable this printer. Click Yes to restart the control service. Saving is disabled by default. To enable saving, right-click UniPrint Save PDF, and then select Enable. Click Yes to restart the control service. Now let's look at setting how group policy objects are applied to UniPrint Infinity. Under Properties and Settings, click Policies. We would like user settings to remain persistent between sessions. Select User Settings. To ensure that user settings are applied first, click to select User Settings, and then click the up arrow to move it up the list. Let's move it back down the list. Click the down arrow. Now let's save our configuration. Click Save. Let's go to the print server to take a closer look at font replication. The font replication plugin can be found in Components. Click Components. Click to select Font Replication Plugin, and then click Properties. Click the Schedule tab. To enable font replication, select Enabled. You can set a time when this print server requests fonts from the application server. A good time is sometime outside of regular business hours, so we'll keep it at 2 a.m. in the morning. You can also have font replication occur on demand by clicking Run Now. Click OK. Thank you for watching this short video. Join us for our next series of videos where we'll go through more in-depth configuration of PrintPal, printer profiles, Secure Print, the UniPrint VPad device, and archiving and statistics monitoring. And if you plan to roll out UniPrint in a server-client environment, you might also want to check out installing and configuring UniPrint Client.